Hello everyone, welcome back to today's video. Today we have important question which we have to discuss. What's the question? What to do if you fall in love with poor Egyptian man? I came across this question completely by accident, and I have to admit I had to think about it. And it's true, many women fall in love with poor Egyptian men. As you can know from my videos, because I mentioned this many times before, those men are at the end mostly scammers who want to get something from you. They want to travel outside of Egypt and to find work abroad. So it's because of money, because they want to have more money, or they want to increase their lifestyle, and so on. Of course, there are many more possibilities. But the point is, those of you who don't know Egypt that much don't want to believe it. You don't want to believe that poor Egyptian man will fall in love to you because he wants something from you. Alright then, but now the question that I had to think about myself. If you fall in love with a poor Egyptian man, so what are you supposed to do about it now? How to actually deal with it? This we will discuss today, step by step. However, I don't say such a love cannot be true, but it's extremely rare. It can happen, but it's extremely rare. Now the problem, not every woman can think that she is the exception. If every woman thinks that, so we are helping the scammers very much. I personally knew this one exception, just one. It was poor Egyptian man fall in love with a rich Egyptian woman, and this woman fall in love back with him as a poor Egyptian man. So those cases are even in Egypt. I would like to mention now how it looks with the Egyptian people. How do they deal with it if such a situation arises? So if I will think about the case which I knew personally, and their story I will tell you in another videos. It's a very beautiful and romantic story, but with a bad end. But let me tell you in a very short version. They were very young, both were in their 20s. He had nothing, she had everything. And that was the problem because the parents of the girl's side, they didn't agree with this love. Egyptians hold the opinion that when two people get married, they should be from the same economic level. They should have the same or similar money and education. And they say it because of the understanding each other in the future. Egyptians hold the opinion if a rich woman, especially the woman, marry a poor Egyptian man, so in the future it will lead them to a lot of problems. They will fight over the money, and the girl will possibly blame him for it even. There can be even a lot of other details. So that's the main reason why the Egyptians do not agree with this. The opinion here is that a girl should choose a partner with the same lifestyle and same financial and economic situation. I will tell it easier. Rich women should marry rich men and poor women should marry poor men. So that they don't fight over money and they understand each other. Because in Egypt, love is not on the first place. This I already mentioned many times. And unfortunately, foreigners have love on the first place. And we have such a mindset that if we fall in love to the person, so we don't look at the money at all. We say money are not important, and love will solve everything. I don't want it to sound bad because I'm a big fan of love, and my personal story is based on big and true love. But on average, we can't rely on love. Love isn't everything. Especially in Egypt, love is not everything. In Egypt, the first place is always material security. I do not say money as only money, but the whole package of material security is in the first place. And always was and always will be. That's their mentality, how they approach it. And if you want to live in Egypt or marry Egyptian man, or to be in relationship with Egyptian men, So you should approach it exactly the same way as Egyptians. Because the Egyptian men are not changing the way as we can possibly imagine. We as foreigners, we can adapt to many different situations. But Egyptians are not like that at all. They want to have what they are used to. They don't realize that if they marry a girl from another culture, they should adapt as well. They simply don't get it. They have in their mind that the girl will adapt to everything, culture, traditions, and so on. Only a few Egyptians can change the way we imagine or the way we change towards them. But we are still at the same question: what to do if you fall in love with poor Egyptian men? If it happens, so what now? I do not say it cannot happen. Of course it can happen, and very easily. Because we do not choose to whom we will fall in love. But it's important, don't use only our heart, but also our brain or our reasons. In this case, it's really very important. So the very first thing I want to advise you is, you must realize that if you fall in love with poor Egyptian man and you want to be with him, so you will have to work. This is even with Egyptian people, that if they are poor, so they have to work, both of them. So if you are used to some level of lifestyle, so you have to realize now that he will not be able to keep it for you. And it will be you who will have to help him with this. Or even you will support that lifestyle fully all by yourself. So you will help him rise. That's such a great first realization, that you will be the dominant person in your relationship, especially if you want to keep your lifestyle or what you was used to. The second advice is, you have to realize now that the money will be a problem for you in the future. It will be center of problems and disagreements. Because Egyptians want to feel like the real men, like they are the leaders of the life. And the woman should follow him. So even if you help him now, he may blame you in the future. He will fight with you about this, or he will even deny what you help him with. You should really get ready for those stuff, because it can happen and it's happening very often. Third advice, you have to realize this as a woman. If you marry such a poor Egyptian man and in the future you will have to gather some children, or you will be pregnant or on maternity leave, or you will not be able to work or provide for the family financially. So realize how your life with such a man will look like. Whether he can take care of you in the future, including the children, or not. Because if not, if he is not able to take care of you in the future, you might end up living with him in some horrible old apartment. Because if you look on the real poor people in Egypt and how they live without any insulting, it's not insulting, it's simple a fact. So for us, those are really terrible conditions. We foreigners cannot even imagine to live in such a conditions. And I knew such a cases when the rich women married poor Egyptian men, and at the end they didn't have even money to buy themselves shoes or bread or food for their children. So it is a really serious question which you have to ask yourself. Because this is not only about you, but even about the children in the future. And if you want to live in Egypt, so you have to even think about education of your children in the future. Because good education is not for free here. So all of this costs money, and not a small money. And that's why Egyptians always speak about money. And that's why they want to leave Egypt, because they think outside it's all easier. And I agree that our education is thousands times better than the Egyptian one. And this is one of many reasons why they want to travel outside of Egypt so badly. I have just given you a snippet of what you should think about. If you want to love such an Egyptian man and you want to possibly even marry him. And for those people who don't want to live in Egypt, but they are planning they will take the poor man to their country. So take care, nowadays it's not that easy as it was time before. And a little warning, marrying an Egyptian man also cost some money. And not small money. But those information are written in many Facebook groups, and even I made videos about it before. The process how to marry him is simple, but if you want to legalize all the documents to be true marriage, so this costs a lot of money. And if he doesn't have money, so it will be again you who will have to pay for it. And now to the topic how to get him out of Egypt. Even you succeed with all your documents, so you never can be completely sure if they will allow him to travel with you or not. Even if it's your husband. They don't have to grant him visa, so you cannot count on it 100%. From my personal experience, and my husband wasn't poor, and we managed to have all the documents, they will invite you for interviews where they will find out if the marriage is purposeful or not. And honestly, if it will be with a poor Egyptian man, so they will be already suspicious. Visas are mostly given to Egyptians who are financially secure. Simply they have money, they have to even prove it here in Egypt. They must have money for the visa and flight ticket and even a banking account. Simply there are a lot of things you have to take into account. I will now skip the material side and now let's look at the emotional side. Such a man who come from a poor background, unfortunately they are not even well educated. Because they didn't have money to join a good school here in Egypt. It's very logical at the end. And now question for you, do you think such a man will be able to love you even in the future the way you want? They are great seducer, they know romantic words, but only at the start, till the time you actually marry him. And then the life before and after marriage is diametrically different. And if you realize after the marriage that you don't even understand each other, and I will add to this that it's good if you speak at least one same language, because I had many cases when the women speak poor English and the men don't speak even English, just few words. Otherwise he speaks only Arabic, and even those people are marrying and they don't even understand the same language. So how and what these people can talk about even in the future? Marriage is not based just on a love. Even love is an important aspect, of course, but there is also need for respect, tolerance, forgiveness, and many other things. So if you do not speak even the same language with your husbands, how such a marriage can actually work? I cannot personally even imagine it. And that's maybe why we have so much divorces with Egyptian men. But this all up to you. I can understand summer love, infatuation, of course, all of this I understand. But as I say, you must listen also to your reasons, not only your heart. So if you have some more questions, please write me in the comments. This video was kind of very brief, but I felt the need to share this with you today. Because there is nothing wrong to fall in love with poor Egyptian men, but then the consequences that can arise from it, they can be absolutely fatal and can ruin your entire life. Thank you for watching this video, and I am looking forward to your comments. And see you next time.